The Battle of Stamford Bridge, a cornerstone event in the historical narrative of medieval Europe, is characterized not only by its immediate martial significance, but also by its far-reaching implications for the geopolitical and cultural landscapes of the era. The engagement, which took place on September 25, 1066, stands as a fulcrum upon which the destinies of multiple nations and the very trajectory of European history pivoted. To dissect this event, one must first contextualize the broader tapestry of 11th century European power dynamics. The Norse kingdoms, once the scourge of Europe with their seafaring raids and territorial ambitions, were experiencing a transformation. The Viking Age, marked by these incursions and the establishment of Norse rule in various parts of Europe, was entering its twilight. This period's waning was partially attributable to internal shifts within the Norse societies, including increasing centralization of power and Christianization, which altered their traditional patterns of raiding and settlement. At the same time, the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms in England, having endured centuries of Viking raids and partial dominion, were consolidating under more centralized leadership. The ascension of Harold Godwinson to the English throne earlier in 1066 was a testament to this consolidation. However, his rule was immediately contested, not least by William, Duke of Normandy, who claimed the English crown based on a supposed promise by the previous king, Edward the Confessor, and by Harald Hardrada of Norway, who saw in England's succession crisis an opportunity to reassert Norse power. The confrontation at Stamford Bridge was precipitated by Hardrada's invasion, which was in itself a complex maneuver involving alliances with disaffected English nobles, notably Tostig Godwinson, Harold's estranged brother. This alliance points to the fragmented nature of English politics at the time and the ways in which external powers could exploit these divisions. The battle itself was notable for several reasons. Firstly, it was marked by the sheer scale and ferocity of the fighting, reflecting the high stakes involved. The Norse army, composed of seasoned warriors and bolstered by the promise of English riches and land, met a hastily assembled but determined English force. The English march from the south of the country to Yorkshire was a feat of logistics and determination, underscoring Harold Godwinson's resolve to secure his kingdom. Secondly, the tactics employed during the battle illustrated a transition in military practices. While the Norse warriors were renowned for their ferocity in close-quarters combat, they were met by an English force that was becoming more sophisticated in its battlefield strategies. This included the use of cavalry and archers, tactics that were less prevalent in the Norse military repertoire, which traditionally favored infantry engagements. The aftermath of Stamford Bridge was as significant as the battle itself. While it ended in a decisive victory for Harold Godwinson and marked the end of Viking attempts to conquer England, it also left the English army weakened and depleted. This, in turn, had direct consequences for the subsequent Battle of Hastings, fought just weeks later against William of Normandy. The loss at Hastings and the subsequent Norman conquest of England not only reshaped the English social and political structure, but also marked the beginning of a new phase in European history characterized by Norman influence across the continent. In analyzing Stamford Bridge, one must therefore consider not just the immediate outcomes of the battle, but also its broader historical reverberations. It represents a moment where the old world, symbolized by the Viking raids and Norse kings, clashed with a new order, one that would see the rise of centralized states and the beginnings of what would eventually evolve into the modern nation-state system. The battle was in many ways a harbinger of the sweeping changes that would transform medieval Europe in the centuries to follow.